Warning: the Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to the Kentucky Speedway. As can you hear that? That's the clock ticking. This is race 21 of Season 6 in the USA Duracell Cup Series. 6 more races left until we determine the drivers that are going to battle it out for the championship here this season. We've already got a lot of drivers in the last couple of weeks that have kind of made some postseason plans, finding victory lane for the second time this season, including Keith Batts and Mitchell Collins, and just last week, Nick Gunther. But it is still really highly contested down around the bottom half of the playoffs, whether it's drivers that are trying to win their way in or drivers that are trying to preserve their spots up at the top of the point standings to point their way into the postseason. It is getting really good, and we got some good racetracks coming up here to finish out this regular season, including here tonight the D-shaped mile-and-a-half known as the Kentucky Speedway. A track that's kind of been up and down on the Duracell Cup Series schedule. When it first made its debut back in Season 1, it was a track that was visited during the first half of the regular season, and then it got moved down into the second half of the regular season, much like where it is this season, around that crucial area just before the playoff cuts begin. So we'll see how it plays its part into today's event. On the pole position is going to be a driver that could win his way into the playoffs here this evening, and that is the two of Dylan Young. Dylan is, of course, trying to join his Young Motorsports teammates, Destin Bolin, three-time winner, and RJ Bishop, getting his first career win a couple of weeks ago to make it a trifecta, I guess you would call it, for the three-car team. He had a great run a couple of weeks ago back at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, but last week really, and I mean really struggled at the Charlotte Roval. He didn't have the best of starting track position either in that race and never really got out of the cellar in the running order, and he subsequently ended up dropping from what was then 19th in points down to 30th in the standings. Took the biggest drop of any driver last week, so he is certainly looking to bounce back here today at the Kentucky Speedway. Alongside of him is a driver who has also been kind of up, down, though he's not really been around the cut line area of 30th in the standings, but we certainly expected at this point in time, at least by this point in time, he would have found victory lane at least once, and that is the most winningest driver in the Duracell Cup Series, Jose Mills. Jose comes into this race 23rd in the point standings. Amazingly enough, not only searching still for his first win of the season, but still searching for his first top 5 on the year. It's not exactly been a super flashy season for Blue Oval Automotive. They've got the one victory with William Howard back at Las Vegas, but Mills, as mentioned, has not found victory lane, and neither has one half of the co-defending champions, Caleb Fogler. So maybe they can find some luck here this evening. Row 2 is where you're going to find a couple of drivers that are trying to move up, but in different scenarios. For Dylan Poteet, who's going to roll off the grid in P3, he's trying to move his way up into the top 30 in the point standings. He's actually been doing pretty well the last couple of weeks. About 3-4 weeks ago, he was 41st in the point standings and was quite a gap away from 30th in the point standings overall. He is now 37th in the point standings, and he's within striking distance of the top 30 in points. He is 37 points behind that cut line. that could be made up, especially if he gets a win here tonight at his home track, let's mention. We'll keep an eye on that. Nathan Ormond, on the other hand, in the 34, he's looking to get back into playoff contention because right now he would be the second driver outside of the playoffs as things look right now, and that is points-wise. Let's take a look at those playoff points coming into this race. Mention the fact that Dustin Bolin no longer is alone as a multi-time winner. Mitchell Collins, Keith Batson, and now most recently Nick Gunther join him with their 2 wins apiece. Gunther is now the number 2 seed since he jumped up 4 spots to 3rd overall in the point stands. Keith Batson is 5th in overall points, and Mitchell Collins is currently 16th overall points. So that's why they are ranked as they are, even though they are tied with 2 wins apiece. Michael Norman lost the points lead after the Charlotte Roval race last week, so that means that Matt Haas is the new points leader. He now is the highest driver in the point standings without a victory, along with Charles Sanford, James Qualls, and Levi McIntyre is now back into a playoff position as well, but it's very close between himself, Ryan Butcher, and Nathan Ormond for that final spot via points. 2 points back Ryan Butcher, 4 points back Nathan Ormond, and we'll see if those 3 drivers find themselves in the same vicinity here this evening. A driver that has now made his way back up into the top 30 in points after last week is Joshua Osborne, and so therefore we have 12 former winners up inside the top 30 in points and subsequently in the top 12 positions in the playoffs, leaving only 4 spots available for drivers to point their way in. Still have 3 drivers below the cut line: Chris Dollerton, Jack Dunnard, Daniel Voiles. Dollerton right now is 27, I believe it is. I'm just double checking, make sure I got that right. No, he is 33. Sorry, 33 points behind the cut line. Jack Dunnard is currently 41 points behind the cut line, and Daniel Voiles is 44 points behind the cut line. Again, still mathematically possible for them to work their way up into the top 30 in the point standings here with 6 races remaining, but we could also have some new drivers go to victory lane here in these final 6 races also. But now it's time to go down trackside. It's time to get those most famous words in motorsports and time to go racing here under the lights at the Kentucky Speedway.
Drivers, start your engines!
81 laps of racing here tonight as the field will roll off behind the Toyota TRD pace car. Mentioned Dylan Poteet. Home track for him here tonight at the Kentucky Speedway. Same for the 70 of James Qualls. They're both looking for their first victories on the season. We've had hometown wins here in the past in the Duracell Cup Series. Remember back to Dylan Young at the Chicago Motor Speedway last season. Austin LaPlante back in, I think it was season 1. Yeah, it was season 1 at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So we've had those Cinderella stories before, and maybe it'll happen again here tonight. Saw the former winners here, 3 of them in the field this evening: Benjamin Miles, Matt Haas, and Nathan Ormond. James Shelley, a former playoff contender. Jordan Lopez, of course, the former Duracell Cup Series champion from Season 3. It's an all-blue oval front row. As Dylan Young going to bring them down here. You see the flashes going off in the crowd as the fans are ready to go. They head into the Reese's restart zone. And Dylan Young gets us underway here this evening at Kentucky. Three wide already back there. That was William Hoer making a move down the apron on the front straightaway, which is considered inbounds. You can utilize that if you so choose. And we're going 3 wide for the lead. Jose Mills straddling the seams there through 3 and 4. Around the outside of Dylan Young. Dylan Poteet took it to the bottom. And Mills is going to lead here tonight. Second place is going to be now Chris Dollerton, with Reggie Fogelman moving into the third spot, and he'll look low for the P2. And now a big run for Rick Johnson. And we might be looking for, as Fogelman clears the 93, and William Hoer will get to the driver's left of the Amoco Ford Mustang. Jose Mills continues to show the way as they fan out, double wide, three wide, all the way back through this pack. Fogelman's gotten clear for second. He sets his sights on Jose Mills. Nice run there through 3 and 4. You can see pulls right up to the bumper of the 38. Was able to rotate the center, drives to the inside, and he will not lead that lap, but he's going to have the inside advantage going into turn 1. And that will be our second lead change of the day. Question is, though, who's going to lead this lap? Because Rick Johnson got a nice run through 1 and 2, and he's now to the inside of Fogelman going into 3. Close quarter racing back around the 7th position. Destin Bolin was all up into the left rear quarter panel of Zachary Fitzwater. Those two rookies, former winners this season. Bolin, 3-time winner. Fitzwater getting the checkers at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, as Fogelman did indeed lead that lap. Mills moves back up to his bumper in second, and Chris Dollerton in the 43 now in that 3rd position, trying to make his way back into the top 30 in points. Our defending Daytona 500 winner. Never in their history of the Duracell Cup Series has the Daytona 500 winner not gone on to the playoffs, including last year with we had the 3 drivers per team. The 8 team, when Matt Haas went to victory lane the 500, still made it into the playoffs with the aforementioned Matt Haas, Dave Campos, and Pierce Crone. Look at the Fords up here. Right now, holding every position inside of the top 5. And the Chevrolets of Fogelman and Fitzwater, another Ford and Collins, and the Mazda of Nick Gunther, who went coast to coast last week at the Charlotte Roval for his 2nd win on the season, 2nd win this season at a road course, and 3rd win of his Duracell Cup Series career. Dollerton did lead that last lap, so he becomes the 3rd driver to have led a lap here this evening. William Hoer looking to be the 4th. Not going to be able to get to the inside of Chris Dollerton this time. 26 of Daniel Boyles, I just noticed there, breaking into the top 10 for the first time after he started 12th. Boyles right now the driver with a victory the furthest down in points. Already documented, 44 points behind 30th in the standings, 39th in overall point standings right now, and we might be going for, contact between Reggie Fogelman and Daniel Voiles, and they settled it out, but that was contact right around the right front of the 26, so gotta hope that there's no fender pushed in and no potential tire rub as rookies battle for second. Fitzwater, William Hoer, and Rick Johnson. Now going to take it 3 wide for the runner-up spot. Chris Dollerton continuing to lead. Dollerton trying to join Nick Gunther, Keith Batson, and Mitchell Collins as a multi-time winner this year. And of course, as mentioned too, try to get back up in that top 30 in the point standings. No better way to do it. And if he does manage to do both of those things, it wouldn't matter if he was down in the 30th position in points or if he was up in the top 20, he would be locked into a playoff position. He would leapfrog all the drivers above him that have 1 victory. Fitzwater now looking to the inside as we have completed the first 10 laps of this race under green, and it's been kind of cool to see the 3 wide several rows deep in the middle of the pack, and even up here at the front we had the 4 wide situation. These drivers, they're racing close, they're racing hard, but so far they're racing clean. Fitzwater gets clear for the top position. Now Mitchell Collins charging his way up to the front. Trying to join Destin Bolin as a 3-time winner this season is the driver out of Michael Norman Motorsports. There's his teammate right behind him, the 93 of Rick Johnson, our winner from Texas, another 1.5 mile racetrack. And a couple of drivers that I've not yet really seen make their way up to the front. I see one that's outside of the top, that's that top 10 right now. Ryan Butcher. We talked about the battle for the final spot in the playoffs via points at this current moment. Levi McIntyre, Ryan Butcher, and Nathan Ormond all separated by 4 points for that 16th seed. We've yet to see McIntyre make his way up here towards the top 10. Nathan Ormond started this race from the 4th position. He has since faded back to around 20th. Ryan Butcher is right now the highest running of those 3 mentioned, and he, last time by, crossed in the 14th spot. Good battle here between teammates. Right now, Michael Norman Motorsports 1, 2, 3. With Dollerton, Collins, and Johnson. And then Michael Norman right now back just outside the top 15, around the 17th position. Let's drop back a bit. There's Ryan Butcher, battling it out with Kyle Matthews. Joshua Osborne, what a great couple of weeks it's been for him, huh? Ended up having the runner-up finish at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway to Keith Batson. Actually, correction, that was a runner-up finish to RJ Bishop, rather, at Chicago Motor Speedway. And that got him back into the top 30 in points, and he's not really looked back since, as he's duking it out with Jack Dunnard in the 88. Dunnard below the cut line, 30th in the standings cut line, 38th in overall points, and trying to make his way back up towards the top 15 here. I think he's getting a bit wadded up inside of the top 10. I noticed there was some stack up there. This side-by-side battle between Reggie Fogelman and Rick Johnson appears to be what was causing it. Look at Kyle Matthews trying to get to the right rear quarter panel of Dylan Poteet to swing around for what would be 11th place. Dylan Young, the pole sitter, trapped in the middle. There's Laura Chung. She was the runner-up finisher to Keith Batson at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway a couple of weeks ago. She's riding right behind her teammate Ryan Butcher in the 78. There's the 13 of Cody Lamas. He's around the 17th position in the 13 car as 3 wide. Nick Gunther's Mazda up in the middle, and oh, caution might come out. No, but the 66 of Zachary Fitzwater's engine just went from the 3rd position. He got it off the track and out of harm's way, so there will not be a yellow flag flying for that. What a tough break there for Fitzwater, 6th in overall points. Came into this race in the 6th seed of the playoffs. And could very well have still been in the conversation to maybe get that regular season championship, which pays out 15 bonus points at regular season's end. Also, point of note, came into this race, the rookie points leader did Fitzwater, 8 points over William Hoer. So this is not going to be what Zachary Fitzwater wanted to see, as more than likely his evening is over. Dollerton continues to lead, and with that issue for Fitzwater in 3rd, it's kind of broken up the front of the field a bit. Tiny gap back from Fogelman to Collins, Gunther, and Mills. Now as they race side by side for the lead, this group will catch back up. As we're 3 wide further back there, Destin Bolin was trying to get to the inside of Kyle Matthews. Matthews through the middle, had a nice run, keeps the spot. And it was an engine issue for the 66 that was pretty apparent. That's got to maybe make the other cars out of Evans Gardner Motorsports a little bit worried. Rob Evans and Ali Liera. The longer this run goes on, as we are a quarter of the way through this evening's race. Aside from the 19 of Carson Gum, which I'm not exactly certain what happened with him, he's lost touch with this whole lead pack. Everybody else is still in one big group. There's only about 5 seconds separating the race leader, which is fluctuating right now between Reggie Fogelman and Chris Dollerton, back to the 61 of Anthony McCrory. Well, if we end up getting into a round of green flag pit stops, I guarantee you that is going to split the field up even more. Tell you who is moving his way up through the field, and that's the 78, Ryan Butcher. Ryan started this race from the 27th position, and he is now in a battle for 7th with the 26 of Daniel Boyles. I believe he has picked up the most spots of anybody in this race so far. He's got a very fast Toyota Camry. Might not have picked up the most spots because Jack Dunnard is trying to crack into the top 10, and he started this race from the 40th position. Right behind him is Keith Batson in the 39, two-time winner. Guess where he started this race? Shotgun on the field in 42nd. And he, last time by, crossed the line in the 15th spot. It's a nice job by a couple of drivers that started very deep in the field to make their way up towards the vicinity of the top 10. You know, you look at a lot of the drivers that we've seen up there in the point standings. Every time we show the playoff grid, they're currently sitting in a playoff spot based off of their points positioning, even though they have a 0 in the win column, like Matt Haas, Charles Sanford, James Qualls, Levi McIntyre. I feel like we talk about those four more than anybody every single week. And the last couple of weeks have been somewhat kind to them in the fact that we've ended up having former winners go to victory lane. Keith Batson and most recently Nick Gunther, Mitchell Collins, Destin Boland's been able to pick up 3 victories. So that helps the drivers that have not had the luck of finding victory lane, that are still being consistent up there in the points, to still be in contention for a spot in this postseason. The only problem is, say you haven't won a race by the end of the regular season and the standings get reformatted, you're going to find yourself at quite a bit of a deficit to the other drivers, because they're going to have those bonus points from each win they got. You're not going to have any bonus points, so it's a catch-22. You like to see the multiple winners. Whoa, as we nearly had a wreck right there. Do we have some pitters? Will Howard nearly ran to the right rear quarter panel of the 33 of Mitchell Collins. I thought maybe Collins was slowing, getting ready to come to pit road, but no, William Howard just completely misjudged going up the middle there into turn 3, and he nearly wrecked himself in the 33. Chris Dollerton, though, I think this is about the most dominant run we've seen out of him in a long time. He wasn't even all that dominant in the Daytona 500 when he won. And again, not many drivers were. Very difficult to hold on to the lead in that race. But Chris Dollerton here coming around to lead his 22nd lap of 28 completed. He's had a couple of challengers, but nobody's been able to culminate anything. Dollerton, Reggie Fogelman, and Jose Mills are the only 3 that have gone to victory lane, have led a lap here tonight so far. And now they're pitting. Saw the 83 go up the racetrack there. Oh, Mitchell Collins is going to miss pit road. Late entry, and he completely missed the commitment line. Oh, we got a wreck further back there at the entrance of pit road. Ryan Brommer's gone around, and now there's contact between Levi McIntyre and RJ Bishop. But Collins is going to have a 30-second penalty. That is a tough break there. Looks like Matt Haas and Carson Gum came on pit road just before the leaders did. William Hoer and Ryan Butcher, they're going to get onto pit lane safely. Destin Boland and Rick Johnson, I think they missed the cone. Who was that? Was that Keith Batson? Might have been a little bit far to the right. You carry a lot of speed, and it's hard to get yourself single-filed out here. I think we're going to have some penalties, and we'll follow up on those once this thing cycles around. Matt Haas, I don't think he'll be the leader. He was on pit road just before the then race leader, Chris Dollerton, came to pit lane, as was Carson Gum. Looks like he'll pick up some spots, though. Getting by a number of drivers that are just now leaving pit lane. We'll see where he eventually cycles around to. Got to think the fresh tires are going to help him on his out lap as he now makes his way around Nathan Ormond. There's Dollerton. Let's see if this is the battle maybe for the lead between himself and Nick Gunther, or did somebody else have a better pit stop? We'll show you, courtesy of the NSCRA split cam, what happened with the wreck coming to pit lane involving the 87 of Ryan Brommer. As I think we are going to have a new race leader. Who's it going to be? I think it's going to be Ryan Butcher. And yes, it is. Scoring updates puts the 78 P1. Saw Keith Batson just now leaving pit lane. Pretty sure he got hit with a 30-second penalty. Rick Johnson, the 93, might have also gotten hit with a penalty. McIntyre in the 99. Anybody that's running way back here, I think, might have gotten a 30-second penalty. I see the 33 of Mitchell Collins just up ahead, and he was up inside of the top 10 when the green flag pit stops began. So I think we've got some drivers that, because they missed the commitment cone, they made it onto pit road, but they were on the right side of the commitment cone. They ended up having the time penalty, and now they're hoping that a caution can maybe come out and save them. Just joined us. We've not had a caution yet here tonight. We've not been without incident, though. Zachary Fitzwater already out of the race due to a mechanical problem. He was running in the top 3 at the time that the engine let go, and I'm going to try to bring you up to speed of the drivers that lost a ton of track position because of potentially a pit road infraction. Levi McIntyre, Rick Johnson, and Keith Batson right now are the 3 cars scored 1 lap down. And Mitchell Collins is in danger of being the next one put -1. The way they cycled around after this round of green flag pit stops, it's Ryan Butcher, the race leader. Chris Dollerton, who's led the most laps, falls back to 2nd. Kyle Matthews just swung around Nick Gunther for 3rd, moving Gunther back to 4th. Daniel Voiles is in 5th. William Hoer is currently battling Reggie Fogelman for the 6th position. Destin Boland is in 8th, Cody Lamas 9th, and Michael Norman currently completes the top 10. Matt Haas, we saw he was one of the first to pit lane. That benefited him a lot because he has cycled around to 17th place. Trying to get up there to Michael Norman, as those two are in a pretty good battle for the overall points lead. Norman got it heading into the Charlotte Roval. Matt Haas took it back. Coming into tonight's race, 8 points was the difference between those two, with Haas on top. Kyle Matthews doing a great job here this year, 1 season removed from winning the Duracell Cup Series Championship with Caleb Fogler and Stephen Pollard III. It was his win at Martinsville last year that pretty much secured them a spot into the playoffs, and that team performed very, very well. We talk about the championship slump the following season, and Kyle Matthews looked like he might have been falling into one of those. He had that victory at Coke Zero Super Speedway and then fell outside the top 30 in points. But since then, Kyle Matthews is up to 22nd in the point standings. He has been very consistent the last few weeks, and he just took the race lead away from Ryan Butcher. Gunther's going to try to get him on the outside line here. Let's see, does Kyle Matthews lead his first lap, or does Gunther lead his first lap? It will be Gunther on the top line. Kyle Matthews looking to join the quartet of Boland, Gunther, Batson, and Collins as a multi-time winner this season, and practically secure himself a spot in the championship in the hopes of defending his title. Now 3 wide. Gunther way up top. Matthews in the middle. Dollerton on the bottom. This is for the lead. All these drivers on the lead lap. And look at Daniel Voiles in the 26. Needs a victory. Maybe it can happen here tonight. As they gave the lead that time to Gunther crossing the start-finish line. And Mitchell Collins trying to keep them stacked up double wide behind him. Hoping and praying for that caution to come out. Carson Gum, the 19, is following a lap down. That team has just not been as competitive as we expected. The former champ, the former Daytona 500 winner, 32nd in points, Carson Gum. And now a lap down halfway through this race. Based off of when they came to pit road, they're going to have to make one more pit stop, and it'll be somewhere around 20 to 25 laps to go. All depends on when they want to make it. Dollerton back to the point. He's had the strongest car of the evening so far. 23 laps led as we were, 4 wide in contact, and Will Hoer's going to get spun off the nose of Rick Johnson. Back up the track. Look out, oncoming cars. Oh, he could have get clobbered by Levi McIntyre. And several more involved. The 83 almost goes up and over. He's actually up on the roof, or the hood now, of Cole Deaver. And the yellow flag is going to wave for the first time here tonight at Kentucky. After William Hoer goes for a wild ride, gets pummeled by Levi McIntyre. Cody Lamas, Cole Deaver, Joshua Osborne involved in this one. Osborne, who had a great run last week at the Charlotte Roval, had put some distance between himself and that cut line. And now he may be falling back below the cut line once again. Destin Bolin in the 12 running low on the track here. I don't know if he got a piece of it or not. I believe the 22 of Michael Norman might have gotten involved. We'll check back in a moment. Kyle Matthews actually won the battle back to the start-finish line, so he gets his first lap lead of the night. And everybody's going to come down pit road, but I don't think they're going to be able to make it the rest of the way on fuel. Benjamin Miles in the 25, former winner here from Season 2, on pit lane early. There's the 99 and the 83. They had to take the tow back to pit lane. Neither one could refire their race cars after the heavy contact that they both sustained. Let's go take a look at what happened to put us on the caution for the first time here tonight. And it happened up at the front. 4 wide situation gone horribly wrong. And it was after we had had a cycle green flag pit stop, so the field was very much spread out. And so as the 83 of Will Hoer had gone around, we had that second group of cars that were going to catch up. Let's see if we can get a better camera angle from what we originally saw, because we saw it happen in live time. And I guess this isn't going to be all that much better. Will Hoer runs down to the apron. Rick Johnson is to his inside. 83 gets spun, and then watch this hit. Wow. There's Osborne, Cody Lamas, Michael Norman, Miles, Chung, Deaver. Now 83 almost stayed beached up on the hood of Cole Deaver's Wheatie Chevrolet. See if we can get another angle here. Hope this isn't too panned out. Looks like Voiles and Hoer might have made a little contact there coming off of 4. And Hoer moved down to give space. Look at this. Nowhere to go for the 99. I thought the 83 was going to go up and over, to be honest. Got up on his side, and fortunately came back down all 4 wheels. Oh, another driver got a little piece of Levi McIntyre. That was Caleb Fogler in the 28. Well, let's take it on board. He was quite a ways back behind this, but he certainly got quite a view. Let's see what the 08 of Cold Deaver saw. So caution out for the first time tonight, just past the halfway point, and bit of a break for a couple of drivers that were in danger of going a lap down, including the 33 of Mitchell Collins. He will remain on the lead lap. Caution coming out a little too late for others. Rick Johnson, Carson Gum, Keith Batson, they're going to remain -1. RJ Bishop had an extended stay on pit road to repair damage. They actually removed the hood off of the Chicago Motor Speedway race winner, his Ford Mustang, and so he lost a lap. There'll be 5 drivers on the inside line for Chris Dalwerton to have to contend with. Kyle Matthews led them to pit road, but he is going to restart back in 6th. Behind Dalwerton, Daniel Voiles, Nick Gunther, Ryan Butcher, and Reggie Fogelman. 5 drivers back in the garage area, 4 due to the incident we just saw on the front straightaway. Those 4 include Joshua Osborne, Cody Lamas, Will Hoer, and Levi McIntyre. Zachary Fitzwater already was back in the garage area due to an early retirement with an engine failure. Osborne may drop back outside the top 30 in the points, as he was only 3 points ahead of the cut line coming into tonight, that being 30th in the standings. And Levi McIntyre came into this race in the 16th seed, last driver in the playoffs via points. Remember, he was very close with Ryan Butcher and Nathan Ormond for that final spot, and this DNF is going to hurt him. These drivers will all look to rebound next week when we go to another 1.5-mile racetrack, our 4th showcase race of the season at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Chris Dalwerton going to bring us down here to the start-finish line, and we're back underway. I believe these drivers still have a pit stop they will be having to make before this race is over, but it might be close. We'll have to wait and see. Boy, those lap cars back there really backing things up. Benjamin Miles was a bit of a roadblock there. We've only got 7 drivers up here in the lead group. And I believe, with the exception of 2 of them, the rest are all former winners. Ryan Butcher and Reggie Fogelman are the only 2 that have not previously picked up a checkered flag. Gunther, 2-time winner. Dalwerton, Daytona 500 winner. Kyle Matthews, former winner. Voiles and Dunnard got their first career wins this season at North Wilkes and Phoenix, respectively. And it's a long ways back there to the 39 of Keith Batson, but Batson, former winner in his own right this year, is the first car 1 lap down. And you got to go all the way back here before you find Matt Haas, trying to get around the lap car of Carson Gum. There's Benjamin Snyder in the 74. Benjamin Snyder last couple of weeks has been doing quite well. He's 19th in overall points, had a top 5 run last week at the Charlotte Roval. Things are looking really sketchy back here. Oh, we're 4 wide. Ooh, that's the pole sitter Dylan Young on the bottom. Jose Mills outside pole sitter on the top with Dylan Poteet. I think that was RJ Bishop that were part of that 4 wide situation, but they all settled it out. James Qualls and Dylan Poteet in this pack. 13th for Qualls. Poteet last time by was scored in 15th, but he's now fallen back a couple of spots since then. We're all going to catch up to the 19 of Carson Gum, who I believe is up to speed, but he had actually lost touch with the lead draft in the early going and has been behind the 8 ball ever since. Currently 1 lap down. Reese Banks, the rookie out of Lake Effect Autosport, Gonna go to the inside of his teammate. This is a battle for 8th place between those two. Back up at the front. Ooh, Reggie Fogelman. Did he just lead his first lap of the night? Well, actually, no. He led his 3rd lap of the night. Nick Gunther took a turn out in front for 3 laps. Ryan Butcher has led 8 laps. And now Kyle Matthews drives it down to the inside there on Daniel Voiles for 4th. Not going to be able to stay to the inside there coming off the corner. One thing when we were on board with Cole Deaver replaying the last caution that caught my eye was the rev limiter. It was flashing red. Cars were topping out in the draft with the high speed. Let's see just how fast they're going down this back straightaway. They exit the corner at 175. By the time they get down here to turn 3, they're up to 178, maybe 179. There's not much in it, but it's a very high speeds for these drivers to be carrying. It sounds like they are very much flat-footing it from the exit of the corner to the entrance of the corner. We heard with Cole Deaver, when you're on the inside line, you're doing quite a bit of feathering the throttle, quite a bit of lifting. So that said to me, especially there, that car gets tight as the right front tire heat begins to build up. Top 2 have scampered away because they caught Benjamin Miles in a bad spot. I think these guys are going to reel those top 2 back in. Always seems like at the speedways, you get them in this kind of single file formation and they produce more speed than do at a super speedway, but it doesn't matter. They're going to catch them for sure because the caution's out. Second yellow flag of the evening coming out on lap 54. Question is, who was it for? Some smoke lingering on the back straightaway. Looks like somebody, actually looks like a couple of cars might have gotten together and spun down towards the inside of turn 3. I wonder if one of them might have been former Kentucky winner Nathan Ormond. Matt Haas might have been one of them too. He was up there battling inside the top 15, and now he's way back here as our points leader. Well, these drivers might be able to make it the rest of the way now. This might have been just the caution these leaders were hoping and praying for, because they're going to come down pit road with 26 laps remaining. I think that is enough for them to make it to the conclusion. So as they take on their service, let's go back and see what brought out the caution. And I think we can safely say Matt Haas was involved, because I just noticed when he came to pit road, he's got some right side damage. Well, it involved him, but it didn't start with him. We were 4 wide coming out of turn number 2. We're going all the way back to the front straightaway here. Watch the yellow car of Mitchell Collins there, the Pennzoil Ford Mustang. Force it up the middle there with Noah Hendrickson and Destin Bolin. And that 4 wide formation continues. And right there, they all get up into the wall. Shelton, Carson Gum also got involved. And then right there, the 8 car gets hooked and gets spun around. Oh, wow, he nearly got hit by both Cole Deaver and Laura Chung. I think Michael Norman and Keith Batson might have made a little bit of contact trying to avoid the spinning 8. We're going to do an aerial view here so you can see all the drivers that were involved. Another Shelton. She gets the wall. Johnson's going to go around the top side, and watch right here, I think. Oh! RJ Bishop ran into the back of Samuel Ryder and sent him into the 22 of Michael Norman. That's what happened there. Let's see what the 22 saw from his point of view. On board with the Dr. Pepper Ford. There you see Bishop getting into Ryder and sent him into Michael Norman. So second caution of the evening. I don't think this will necessarily take anybody out of the race, but we'll have to wait and see. Didn't see anybody smoking when they left the vicinity anyways. And Reggie Fogelman, the rookie out of Northeast Motorsports, is going to be the one that will lead us back to green. Northeast Motorsports looking for their second win of the season, following up Jack Donner's win at Phoenix. Reggie Fogelman looking for his second career victory. Remember last year, maybe a rookie this year, but he made his series debut last season in a Dodge for 4 Racing Enterprises and went to victory lane. So he's looking for what would be a second career, but first of season 6. We should get the lights out atop the pace car this time, so we'll give you a full field rundown if we can. Fogelman's the leader. Nick Gunther will line up in second. Jack Dunnard's third. Chris Dollerton fourth, and Ryan Butcher completes top 5. Daniel Voiles 6th. Noah Hendrickson's up here in 7th. Give a shout out to that rookie. He's been kind of under the radar. Dylan Poteet's up in 8th. 9th, Reese Banks. And James Qualls completes the top 10. Jesse Turner's 11th. Dylan Young in 12th. 13th will be Jose Mills. Quentin Moore 14th. 15th is where we find Benjamin Snyder. Kyle Matthews in 16th. Austin LaPlante 17th. Anthony McCurry, he's 18th. And the top 20 are completed by Rob Evans and Charles Sanford. Samuel Ryder, he's in 21st. Michael Norman 22nd. Laura Chung is 23rd. 24th for Cole Deaver. Ryan Brommer is 25th. Ali Liera, she runs 26th. 27th is Caleb Fogler. Nathan Orman's back in 28th rather. Mitchell Collins 29th. And Matt Haas completes the top 30. Destin Bolin and Jessica Shelton in 31st and 32nd are the last drivers on the lead lap. Keith Batson, Rick Johnson, RJ Bishop, Carson Gum, 1 lap down apiece. 2 laps down for Benjamin Miles. 37 drivers running, 32 on the lead lap. As this restart will be with 23 laps to go. Fuel should be no longer a concern. We may see another caution between now and the end of this race, but only time will tell. Reggie Fogelman, his Chevrolet, then the Mazda of Gunther, the Chevy of Donner, the Ford of Dollerton, and the Toyota of Butcher leave the Reese's restart zone and get us back under green here at Kentucky. Keith Batson looking to get his lap back. Nick Gunther, in turn, is going to take the lead from Fogelman. And so Batson certainly is hoping for a yellow flag to come out here, so that way he can be back at the tail end of the field. Reggie Fogelman says, not so fast, Mr. Gunther, and he gets a good run on the top side there through 3 and 4. I think he's going to lead the lap. He's got a teammate up there to help him draft him back to the front. Rookie Stripes from Northeast Motorsports, powering strong on the outside line here. Field got broken up again because of the lap cars. Looks like Dylan Poteet is the last car up in this lead group in 8th place of the lead lap cars. And then it's a bit of distance back to Jesse Turner and Dylan Young, who are in a tussle for 9th. There's the 31 car. Trying to win at his home track is Dylan Poteet. Kyle Matthews and Dylan Young, Anthony McCurry there. They might be able to catch up to the lead group. They're not that far back. You know, Kyle Matthews has a fast car. He's had it out in front for 2 laps. Dylan Young, we know, has a fast car. Started this race from the pole. He's yet to lead a lap, though. He ended up getting passed around the outside by Jose Mills on lap 1. Keith Batson kind of doing what Mitchell Collins did earlier, keeping the different lines from getting a run on him in the hopes that he can catch a yellow and be back on the lead lap. Reggie Fogelman continuing to lead as he's got Nick Gunther right behind him. Now Fogelman wants to get by the 39, put him a lap down. Keith Batson's going to fight hard on that top side. What does Gunther do? He's going to go to the bottom and help the 24 down the back straightaway. Batson had a nice entry into 3, though. Ooh, we're going to go 3 wide here. Gunther sticks his nose in. Uses the apron. Who gets the advantage here into 1? It's going to be the top line, maybe. Uh-oh, slow car. Benjamin Miles. Oh, what a horrible place to catch him. Nick Gunther had to bail out of the throttle, as does Jack Dunnard. They're still trying to get around him. Looks like they're going to now. Nick Gunther's not going to be thrilled with that. I think that's the second time that Nick Gunther has caught Benjamin Miles in a bad spot. It happened once before under the last restart. And now the battle is between 3 drivers, Reggie Fogelman, Chris Dollich, and Daniel Voiles. Ryan Butcher's trying to get up there, make it a 4-man fight. Gotta wonder if the 26 team is treating this as a must-win type race. We've already documented earlier on the situation they're in. Need to get into the top 30 in the points. Second victory could certainly help them out. They were 44 points behind the cut line. I believe the most points you can accumulate in a race is 49. That's if you win the race, lead a lap, and lead the most laps. Voiles, at this point in time, I don't think can get the bonus point for most laps led, but he could get a total of at least 48 points if he wins. And it might be enough to be able to combat the 44 points he's currently lacking between himself and 30th in points. Chris Dollerton, though, he's led the most laps here tonight, 29, and he's going to try and fight his way back up to the front. He and the car behind him, Reggie Fogelman, the only 2 drivers that have led double-digit laps this evening. Fogelman has led 16. I'm watching to see about Noah Hendrickson and co, if they're going to be able to catch up. Nick Gunther's coming. Got around Dylan Poteet, and now he's going to go to work on Noah Hendrickson. That 55 is flying. He might be driving angry right now after what went down between himself and Benjamin Miles. And we know he's got a fast Mazda, looking for back-to-back victories here. Is Nick Gunther, coming off that victory last week at the Charlotte Roval and looking to join Destin Boland as a 3-time winner here in Season 6. Again, next week, be sure to tune in to the 4th showcase race of the season at the Homestead Miami Speedway. It's the only 1.5-mile track that the showcase drivers will get an opportunity at. And then we go to the road course of Watkins Glen, the worn-out version of Atlanta Motor Speedway. Bristol Dirt has always played its part into a possible late playoff contender. And then we finish the thing off at the Auto Club Speedway, which will determine the 16 drivers that will battle for this season's championship. Ford's up front, battling for the top spot as they made their way around the slower car of Caleb Fogler. Daniel Voiles putting a little air on the spoiler of the 43 of Dollerton, got him a little loose and up the track, and he'll look to the bottom. 25 of Benjamin Miles. They're going to catch him here. Which lane's going to prevail? I think Voiles is going to bail out. Oh, they're going to split him. Oh, gosh! Daniel Voiles nearly wrecked the 25 car. And Gunther's saying, nope, you're not blocking me this time. They're going to split him down the back straightaway. That 25 is big time off the pace. I'm surprised they haven't black flagged him or told him to come to pit road. He is very, very slow. The closing distance between him and the faster cars is almost borderline scary. And Daniel Voiles is now falling back to the 4th spot. I'm trying to get a little look-see if he's got any right side damage. There was definitely contact between himself and Miles. It does not look visibly like there's any damage on his Oreo Ford Mustang. I mean, he dodged a big, big bullet. Gunther's back up in this lead group, as is Jack Dunnard, as is Kyle Matthews. So this is not over yet. Got the lap car there of Keith Batson. He could be a spanner in the works as Anthony McCrory's coming off pit road in the 61 2 laps down. I'm trying to look and see if there's any indication of why he came to pit road. That would be unscheduled, I do believe. These drivers, as I mentioned, when that third caution came out, they came to pit road and they should have been good to make it the rest of the way on what they had in the tank. So I'm going to assume something a little bit more sinister there for driver 61. 3 wide. Ooh, there's some damage on the right side of Ryan Butcher. Do you guys see that? That Gatorade Toyota Camry might be dealing with some aero issues here, but still up inside of the top 5 as he's going to get taken 3 wide by Voiles and Jack Dunnard. Gunther's going to move solidly into 3rd behind Fogelman and race leader Chris Dollerton. Now Dollerton came into this race 33 points behind the cut line. Looking for what would be the 6th win of the season for Michael Norman Motorsports. Following up the 2 wins for Mitchell Collins. His Daytona 500 victory, the Texas win for Rick Johnson, and the M&M Super Speedway win for Michael Norman. As Reggie Fogelman, that was smart there. He went up there to the about a groove higher through 3 and 4 to try to get the run on Chris Dollerton for the race lead. And now we'll cross him to the inside going into turn 1. Dollerton went to throw the block, couldn't do it. And Fogelman, I think, is going to clear for the spot down the back straightaway. He set that pass up all the way back in turn 3 the last lap. Look at him run up there again, just about that same line. Straddling the seams, going to get the nice exit off of turn 4. Nick Gunther and Daniel Voiles tandeming on the inside lines. They're going to catch the 98 of RJ Bishop in a bad spot. Chris Dollerton's going to get held up on that outside line, as is Ryan Butcher. That moves Gunther into 2nd and Voiles into 3rd. Dunnard will go to 4th, and Kyle Matthews, I think, is going to move into the top 5 as a result of that. This time by, going to be 4 laps to go, and there's more traffic that I think the leaders are going to have to deal with up ahead. I was going to say I have a suspicion of who it is. It's the 25 of Benjamin Miles, who is a teammate to the 24 car and has been a menace a couple of times to the 55 of Nick Gunther. So this could be very interesting with 3.5 left to go here at Kentucky. Right now, I'd say it's 5 drivers in the hunt for this win. Kyle Matthews has lost a bit of touch with Jack Dunnard. Oh boy, here we go. They're going to catch the 25. Where do they go? 24 goes high, 55 goes low. Nice, roomy front straightaway. And they resume the battle for the lead into turn 1. Gunther, can he clear? Fogelman tries to get back to the throttle, but I don't think he was able to. Gunther didn't move up in front of him, though. He stayed down low to block any advance from Daniel Voiles. And now Fogelman. Can he get to the right rear here off of 4? Yes, he can. Voiles gets to the left rear as Batson's going to come to pit road and kind of get out of these drivers' way. 3 wide crossing the start-finish line with 2 to go. Nick Gunther looking for his 3rd win on the season. Voiles going to battle on the bottom. He's got Rick Johnson for help and Jack Dunnard. Oh, Johnson might take him 3. Gunther's going to be way up on the top. This time by, it'll be the white flag. Contact! Big wreck! Caution's out! We're coming back to the caution. And Nick Gunther's going to win. Did the caution come out? No, we're still green, I think. Oh, now the caution lights are showing. Yeah, I think this race ended under yellow. And Nick Gunther takes the white flag, and he's about to come around and take the checkers. 3rd win of the season for Nick Gunther. Back-to-back victories after the win last week at the Charlotte Roval. And Nick Gunther's going to join Destin Bolin as a 3-time winner here in Season 6 of the Duracell Cup Series. 3rd win for Mazda. I believe the last driver to go back-to-back in Duracell Cup Series history was back in Season 4. Michael Norman did it very late in that year during the playoffs. And here tonight under the lights, Nick Gunther from the 14th position is going to cross the line, and he is going to pick up win number 3, career win number 4 here in the Bluegrass State. Looking for the 26 of Daniel Voiles. I think he might be on pit road. He ended up getting together with, I think it was Rick Johnson, who I think was coming to pit lane, or Voiles was coming to pit lane. I don't know who it was. Let's go back and see what happened there before we take a look at the finishing results. Might have been Voiles that actually was coming to pit road, because I think Rick Johnson was on the inside of the 3-wide situation. Here it was. Coming out of 2 and down the back straightaway. How does this contact take place? Voiles is going to come down. It's almost like he was trying to come down in front of Rick Johnson. I don't know if he was trying to come to pit lane or not. And then, ooh, look out, oncoming traffic. And you may have seen on the left side of your screen, the 43 of Chris Dollerton got a piece. And he did not make it back around to the line. There's Rick Johnson going for the scenic tour through the infield grass. Daniel Voiles ended up crossing. Oh, he didn't cross the line either. Daniel Voiles actually couldn't even get the car refired. I remember Dollerton and Voiles, they were both looking like they were going to have really good points days, trying to make their way back into the top 30 in the points. Because of what we just saw take place there, Daniel Voiles is going to finish in 34th. Dollerton is going to finish in 29th. And that is finishes certainly not indicative of where they were running all night long. There's the hit for Dollerton. I think the 26 got loose there in the middle. He came right down into the 93. There's Voiles rolling down pit lane. Actually, Voiles might have gotten to his pit stall. Might have been behind the start-finish line, which is why he'll be scored 2 laps down. Dollerton, you see, pull into his stall past the start-finish line. And so he's going to end up being scored 1 lap down in the final finishing results, which I believe are indeed official. And yes, they are. Nick Gunther is going to pick up the victory. This 55 team, I believe he's going to jump to the number 1 seed now, because he's ahead of Destin Bolin in points and a 3-time winner like Destin. Jack Dunnard going to bring it home in 2nd. That was another driver that was below the cut line. He was 41 points behind the cut line, so he might be back up inside the top 30 in points. We'll have to wait and see. Reggie Fogelman, his teammate, going to bring it home in 3rd. Kyle Matthews in 4th place continues to have the consistent runs to gap himself to that 30th in the standings cut line. And Ryan Butcher, 5th place run. He could very well be up in a playoff spot via points. Remember, he was in a close battle between himself, Nathan Norman, and Levi McIntyre coming into tonight. Destin Bolin, the now other 3-time winner, next to Nick Gunther. He will finish 6th. Benjamin Snyder, the consistent runs continue for driver 74. He's 7th. Jose Mills, after starting the outside of the front row, gets 8th. Good showing here tonight for the hometown drivers. Dylan Pote gets 9th, and James Qualls gets 13th. Noah Hendrickson was the driver that completed the top 10. Good run there for Quentin Moore. Well-needed run, because much like Osborne tonight, Quentin Moore, yeah, he was inside the top 30 in points, but he was only 2 points ahead of the cut line. So this will give him some well-needed insurance. Jesse Turner finishes in 12th. We talked about Qualls there with a good run, so he should be still in contention for a playoff spot via points. Ali Liera and Austin LaPlante completed the top 15. Dylan Young started on the pole. Didn't get to lead a single lap here tonight. He finishes in 16th. Mitchell Collins was out in front for a portion of this race. Ended up managing to catch a yellow to be on the tail of the lead lap and fought his way back up to 17th. Rob Evans, Nathan Norman, and Charles Sanford. They're going to complete the top 20 as we take a look down the rest of the finishing results. Cole Deaver was the last driver to finish on the lead lap. There you see Dollerton, there you see Voiles. They didn't reach the conclusion of this one. And then the rest of the drivers that finished a lap down in this race, out of the race, included Osborne, Lamas, Hoer, McIntyre, and Fitzwater. Fitzwater due to a mechanical issue. All the other drivers that retired were due to on-track crash incidents. Well, a lengthy one here tonight. Long green flag run at the beginning, saw a round of green flag pit stops, and then the cautions seemed to determine the remainder of the race. But Nick Gunther and that number 55 Mazda very fast here this evening, and he's going to pick up his third win on the year. We said last week he had all but secured a playoff spot. That's a definite fact now. I don't know if he'll take the overall points lead, but I think that might be the next thing on his list that he's gunning for, is this 55 team's going to have a lot of bonus points heading into the postseason. But I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's race here from the Kentucky Speedway. If you did, be sure to subscribe to part of the crew today. We showed you full opinion results, and you are now looking at your point standings heading into next week when we will be at the Homestead Miami Speedway. It is the 4th of 5 showcase races where we'll see the showcase drivers determine the starting grid for the main event drivers. It's the next to last race for those showcase drivers as well in their attempt for one driver to have their dream come true and lock themselves up a guaranteed spot in next year's Duracell Cup Series field. But until then, I've been Seth Cole. You've been watching another broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV, offline racing at its best.